In this video, we're going to talk about the greatness of Google Calendar. And if you're like me, you have to write down everything, because what teacher doesn't have to write down all the 500 things that we have to do every day, and the things that are going on in school? And if you don't have to do that, then please share your superpower with me, because if I did not, I would forget half the things I'm supposed to be doing each day. So, the ease of Google Calendar is awesome. Instead of, every single teacher in the school, you get your calendar at the beginning of the year of when your faculty meetings are and when your department meetings are, and all the different trainings and PD that you're going to have to do. And instead of every teacher, breaking out their handy dandy agenda or teacher calendar with a pencil or a paper and writing out all the events, you could just have a Google Calendar, one person could do it, and then share it with the whole school, and there it is. Same thing could be said for like a student calendar, and I also like to just put my personal calendar on my Google calendars. So you can see I have 3 calendars showing right now. I have my personal school calendar. These are things that deal with just me. So this would be like if I had an IEP meeting, and that would show up, because that's not something the whole school needs to see. Or if I have a meeting with the other civics teachers or something, then that's something that only I need to see. I don't need to share that with anyone probably. And then we have our school calendar, which is something that every teacher in the school needs to know that a certain event's happening. AP exams are happening this week, or we've got department meetings happening today, or we have our faculty meeting happening today, report cards go out this day. That's kind of the general school calendar. And then I have a student calendar. This tells my students when they have their quizzes and their tests or their projects are due, and so it's pretty simple to see all, and it gets kind of busy. So maybe, like, I don't need to see my student calendar. I know when my kids' stuff is due, so I can take that off, or maybe I don't want to look at the social studies, or not the social studies, the school calendar today, so I can just look at my personal calendar, and then you can click on and off, and you can see what it might look like. So to create a calendar is pretty simple actually. You go and click this little drop down box and click create new calendar. So like I coach the mock trial team at our school, so I'm going to create a mock trial calendar. I'm going to make this calendar public because I plan to share it with other people, and that will save you some steps in the future. And they will be able to see all the events. And then we'll click create calendar, and yes. And so now I have a mock trial calendar. There it is. And any events would be in red. Okay, I don't want it to be in red because that messes up my color scheme, so I'm going to make them green. So if I want to say, let's add, today is the 20th, today we're going to have practice at 3:30. And I don't want to add it to my school calendar, so I'm going to add it to the mock trial calendar. Click, create, and there it is. Okay, and so, whoops. So now I can see that I have practice mock trial at 3:30. And if I don't want to see the mock trial calendar, I can click off of it or click back on it. So, as I said earlier, the great thing about Google Calendar is that you can share it with other people. And so I would want to share this with my co-coach and all the team. We have like 6 to 9 people on a team. So that's not that many, and there's several ways to share a calendar, and I'm going to show you 3. The first one is the easiest, and this would just be to share through email. So if you click on this drop-down menu, this is how you change the color, if you saw me do that just a second ago. You click share this calendar. Okay, here you can type in the email addresses. So I could put in my co-coach, I could put in all the team members, and then it would send them an email, and then they could see the events or add to the event. So we could put like my co-coach is Lauren Piner, and then I could say that she could make changes and manage sharing. Okay, and then I could add a person. Click add. And then she would be able to make changes and add anything. And then we click save, and you could see how we would do this. And if you ever needed to like check to see what was happening, you could see, you just click on the date or click on the event. You can edit it, of course, add a description where it's going to be, and then you can change the calendar if by chance you put it in the wrong calendar right here. Okay, so save. And another way you could share this, so like our school calendar, for example, we have well over 100 faculty members. There's no way that we would enter all their email addresses. So one easy way to do this is you click your drop-down menu and you go to Calendar Settings. Under Calendar Settings, it gives you a calendar address. Okay, so I suggest clicking on the HTML link, and then it gives you an address to this. So you could copy this link and put it in an email and say, this is a school calendar, here's a link, and when people go to it and they open it up, this is what they'll see. And down here at the bottom, you'll see that there's a plus Google Calendar. As long as they're logged into Google, or even if they're not, if they click on this, it will add it to their Google Calendar. They might have to log into Google if they're not already logged in though. But they would add it, and then it would show up on their Google Calendar. So that's a really easy way to do that. Another way, so for my student calendar, for example, let me go back. My student calendar, I'm not going to send them out an email saying, here's the calendar. You probably have a website for your classroom, so here's my website. This is Morgan's website. I have a link for calendars, and I embedded the student calendar onto this page, and then they can do the same thing as they could have if they'd gotten it in an email. They'll just see the calendar and they can click plus Google Calendar, and then they might be prompted to log into their Google account, and then it will add it to their Google Calendar. And to get the embed code, all you have to do is go click on the drop-down menu and go to the calendar settings, and then you've got the embed the calendar, and then it just depends on what kind of website you're using. I use Weebly, so there's like an HTML code that you would just add in this little copy and paste code to your website, and then the kids can see it, and it updates automatically, so it's pretty wonderful. Just FYI, when your students or your co-workers add the calendar that you've created, it will not show up under their calendars where it says My Calendars. That's going to be their calendar. So it would show up under Other Calendars. So for example, another teacher at our school created a calendar for the sports or the athletic department. And if I click on that, I can see like when that women's tennis workouts are this week. Or if we go back in time, we could see when the softball tournament was, or when soccer playoffs began, that kind of thing. And so that's because I did, on our school website, they have a sports calendar. So I did just like my kids would do. They would go and then click on the plus Google Calendar. I did that on our school website and then added it to my account. Okay. I also shared I have a personal Gmail, so I share my personal calendar with myself so I could see any conflict that might be happening. For example, let's see. I knew that on this day, like I had to meet with someone with my husband, and I wouldn't be able to tutor too late after school because I would have to get home so that we could change and go. Same thing over here at 4. I might have to leave work a little bit early to make sure that I can meet this appointment in my personal calendar. So I like just being able to see both. Our social studies department has a calendar as well, so you can see when our civics PLCs meet. This would be a really good way if you have different carts for computers and laptops and iPads and such. You could have a calendar to share with the school to show what carts are available and when, or when they're being used. So this is Google Calendar in a nutshell and how simple it is to use it. If you have questions, I have this handy document called How to Create and Share Google Calendars. And it goes through how to create it, just as I said, and then the different ways to share it. I don't go into detail about how to put it into your website, but like I said, you just go and put the HTML code. But I do talk about how to share it through email or how to share it by giving an address to your calendar. And if you want this link, let's see, here we go. There's a link. Go to goo.gl-7 capital C, capital M, capital N, 4 lowercase c. And that will take you to this document so that you can see it and review.